Hey, it's Real Sisters Real Talk. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Shawna, and that's my sister Jody, and just so fun to have you with us for Real Sisters Real Talk. This is a crazy time of the year. It's October 29, which means we are about to step into November, which means that boom, Thanksgiving and then Christmas is like right behind it. And I have this weird thing that I do, this habit that I have of putting notes to my future self in my calendar. So I just opened up my calendar and there's a little note that says, Shawna, it's about to get crazy. Don't overcommit yourself. Give yourself time to breathe. Like I literally have this in my calendar and it's like cuz it's so funny how certain times of the year show up and we go, like we're surprised that it's hairy and that it's crazy. We should not be surprised that it's going to be hairy and crazy over the holidays with Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. So since I can't get myself into your calendar and pop in a little note for you there that it's about to get crazy, Jodes and I are going to talk right now about how to be intentional as we head into this holiday season about all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. On top of the holidays and the busyness with that, I have Johnny's birthday at the beginning of November, and we have Faye, my granddaughter, turns 2 in December. And so you add these celebrations into that, and it's
Yeah.
it's this fun stuff that I don't want it to get lost. I think that's one of the things that I'm really feeling this year is I don't want those things to get lost in the busyness of the
Mhm.
holidays.
Right.
And that happens too quickly. So I think I'm wrestling as I'm kind of even just praying into what I want this next few months to look like. I'm going to start by saying this is my favorite time of year.
Mhm.
I love the fall. I love the holiday season. I love all things celebration. I love the cold weather. I love the food that comes with the holiday season. I love baking, and so that's fun. So I think like you had said too, like not do not overcommit. That's the note you put in.
Yep.
And I absolutely like just because there's an opportunity doesn't mean we need to say yes to it, right?
Mm.
And so how do we not overcommit? And on the flip side of that, I want to talk about a little bit today. How do I how can I be intentional to do the things that I really want to do
Yeah.
and not just lose the holiday season because of the busyness? So there's the twofold in
Mhm.
it. I don't have to say yes to everything, but like I can shoot out a bunch of these things throughout this
Yeah.
episode. But like one of the things I love to do is I love to go to Naples and walk around with a cup of hot tea with Johnny, and if the kids come, like it's just or some friends, it's so much fun to walk around and look at the lights
Mhm.
one night during the holiday season. But there are so many times when it gets so busy that I don't make that happen because, it's one more night out or, I don't know. I have all the excuses. There's other things going on. I want to do that. I want to do that this holiday season.
Yeah, so that I have that kind of like on my list too to talk about. It's just like one of the things that's super helpful is right now, before it gets too crazy, make a list of the things that are important to you and that you want to, experience this holiday season. Maybe for you, it's not going to Naples and looking at the lights. Maybe for you, it's like, it really means a lot to me to get the tree up, the day after Thanksgiving so that we have it up the whole Christmas season. Whatever it is that you value. And the thing that's connected, make a note of it. So that's like step number one. But I think another thing that's important too is, it's not just my Christmas. It's everybody's Christmas. So,
Yep.
maybe for me, it's getting the Christmas tree up but maybe for, like Haven, my youngest daughter, well, this kind of connects with gift giving too, because she's not a things person. She's not like, doesn't get super excited about getting a new pair of jeans or a piece of equipment she's studying to be a music producer. She's a musician, singer, songwriter. That stuff doesn't, even though she loves that and that's her passion point, that stuff doesn't get her as excited as having an experience together. So I think she was in middle school when one year for Christmas, she made up little fake movie tickets. And she said, sometime in the next week while we're all home together, I'm taking you all to the movies."
So sweet.
Oh my gosh, it was so precious. It was great because she was just this little bitty little thing, but she took us to the movie theater, and, maybe she was in elementary school now that I think about it, but I remember her standing there at the counter, like, with her arm on the counter, and, she's like, "1, 2, 3, you guys want you want some Junior Mints or some popcorn?" Or, she was just, like, in charge of the whole thing, which was adorable, but we saw some, Marvel movie, I can't even remember what it was now at the time, but, like, she's not into things, but she wanted to create an experience
Yeah.
for all of us to have together, so now that I know that about her, as I'm shopping and I'm doing Christmas shopping, I could pick her up a pair of jeans, I could pick her up some mittens or whatever the case may be, but I'm thinking, what would matter to Have?
Yep.
How can I create experiences that would be more meaningful that actually kind of hit the heart for. So that's like the 5 love languages thing. If you're not familiar with Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, they are each of us feels love in a different way. And so one of them is quality time. Another would be physical touch. Jodes, I might have to have you help me with these. Another would be words of affirmation. So maybe just like writing out a really, really nice letter to someone. Another one is gifts. Like, yep, I want the things, I want the goods. That's what really speaks to me. And the other one is
Acts of service.
acts of service. Boo, yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, and people, so different things minister to different people. And so I wonder, Shauna, you had said, like, what if you made a list? So it's knowing our people,
Yeah,
right? And knowing what how to give them, and what is life-giving for them, how they feel, how they receive love. But I wonder if, even as, like, we have older kids in our family, as we make a list of the things that are really important to us and we want to make sure that we actually are intentional to do this holiday season, what if we asked each member of our family to do that? To make their own list, and then we could,
sure.
like, even to gift give that way, like, okay, we're going to create this game night. Hey would probably love that, right?
Yes,
Where
yeah.
you guys can all be together and you make hot chocolate, or, like, Lauren is a very tradition person. She, like, there's things that we did every year and I didn't realize that we did it every year, but she would say things like even when she was in junior high, she would say things like, we have to do this because it's our tradition. And I'm like,
Ah,
oh, it
gotcha.
is? And she says, we do it every year. And I'm like, oh, we do. Okay.
Yeah.
We've done it the last 3 years. So it's our tradition. And so, things like make some hot chocolate, get in the car and drive around and look at Christmas lights.
Yeah. I
That
have to tell
is,
you, that's a tradition.
yep.
What we did, we thought we were so funny. We thought we were so creative and like fun. But anyway, when the kids were little, we would put them to bed. We'd bathe them, get them in their jammies, tuck them in, and then we would bring like cookies and hot cocoa into the Suburban and have the Suburban heated up and ready to go. And then we'd go wake up the kids and go, surprise! We're gonna go look at Christmas lights. And then we'd pick them up in their jammies and bring them in the car, and we'd go drive around and look at lights, and then we bring them home, put them to bed. And we just thought that we were killing it at parenthood because that's how we did Christmas lights. But yeah, that was our tradition with Christmas lights when the kids were little.
Yeah. I have to tell you, every alarm is going off in me right now. Like, oh my goodness. Wait, you woke up a sleeping
Oh, I
child?
know, I
That is the
know.
last
We
thing I
did.
would do.
Well, we wouldn't let them actually go to sleep. Like, we would just
Yeah.
tuck them in
Tuck
and
them
then get
in.
the
Okay.
car ready and then pick them up and put them in the car. Yeah.
This is a total side note, but I just have to tell you, anytime I'm watching my granddaughter and Kellen will say, "Oh, wake her up if she sleeps past this time or something." It's the hardest thing for me to
You're like,
wake her
"That's
up.
not
I
happening."
love Yeah, I love waking her up because she's so cuddly and snuggly and all that stuff.
Mm,
But, and like when she was itty bitty baby and they do that little arch back stretch kind of thing,
yes.
it's so cute when you unwrap them and they do that. But at the same time, it's like, oh, there's just something so against waking up a sleeping child. I have
I
such a hard
know.
time with that. So, yeah, I honestly, in prepping for today, I made a list of things that I really want to do this year.
Very
And
fun.
I think, yeah. So some of it is things like going to Naples with either our kids and Faye, or some friends, but also things like some traditions that I want to start as a grandma. Like, this is silliness, but I wanna buy the little chocolate countdown thing
Yeah.
for Faye.
Oh, very
It's just a
fun.
little piece of chocolate,
Yeah.
and she's old enough now that she knows
Just
what
one a
that
day.
is. Just
Yeah, that
just
is
one a
so
day.
fun. I love that.
Um, yeah, so I want to do that. So I've kind of already got my eye out for that to pick that up for her. But I also want to find a book that will be ours for Christmas with grandkids. This is something that we're gonna do that like, I'll put it away when
Yeah.
it's not the month of December, but as soon as Thanksgiving hits, man, I wanna take that book out every year so that they know, "Oh, we're gonna do that book with grandma," and it will, of course, point to Christ, because
Mhm.
that's I want them to get that message. So, like, there's some things like that where it's like, I wanna be really intentional to create some traditions with grandkids.
Yeah. I love that so much. My kids are coming from, well, my oldest daughter lives in the Czech Republic and she's coming to the States. She's November 4th, so very soon. And
Oh my goodness.
and my other daughter who lives in Australia and her husband Grant and my grandbaby Selah are coming and they're going to be with us for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. So yeah, I'm at the beginning of all of these things, but I know that like the minute people start to come home, so well we're actually celebrating Christmas the first week of December. So I don't even have as much time as what, the calendar gives us to be able to get ready for
Yes.
Christmas. But yeah, we're at the beginning of thinking through those grandparenting traditions too and what does this look like and how do we handle it differently? But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on this time of year and it can get really really crazy. So a couple of things that just to recap really quick, we talked about knowing what your expectations are, what's important to you, what you would like to see happen so those things become a priority and they don't slip through the cracks. Having the conversation about with your people about what's important to them and making that a priority as well. And then gift giving with what matters to the other person, like kind of keeping that in mind as we move forward. Um, I think another thing for me is that the holidays can be a really people intensive time. And I love people, especially my
Yeah.
people, but I also need alone time or my battery gets empty. So I would, one of the things that I'm going to be intentional about heading into this Christmas season is just making sure that I have the time that I need for my own sanity to be the me that I want to be, that I have the alone time that I need as well. And that's depending on season of life that's going to be different for all of us.
Right. So like this Christmas, what do you want that alone time to look like? And the reason I'm asking that, does that mean like, okay, I'm going to create some space to get away for half a day,
Mm.
or does it mean I'm going to make sure I get up early enough and have a place in the house where I can be
Yeah.
quiet with the Lord?
Yeah, I think I'm not a late night person anyway. I mean, I
Yeah.
got up at 3:45 this morning. That's kind of my normal. But not when the kids are home and when we're doing the holidays and stuff like that, I won't be up at 3:45. I won't be working. So
Right.
I will be enjoying them. But I'm still not a, stay up until midnight kind of gal.
Yeah.
I'll go to bed at 10 o'clock and then I can get up at, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning. And unless my grandbaby's up, which I don't know what her schedule will be like coming from Australia to here, if she'll be on any kind of normal schedule or what. But yeah, I want to be intentional about having a few moments in the morning with a hot cup of coffee in a quiet
Yeah.
spot, to be with the Lord, to be present. Okay, so that's another thing that is when my kids were little and I'd go to Walmart, there's always the little old lady that would be like, "Oh, your kids are so cute. Enjoy this time." And you just want to kind of, thanks, because you're just trying to get your
Right.
grocery shopping done. And you got all these kids under tow. That lady knew something. Let me tell you, I am that lady now.
Yeah.
And time just goes really, really fast. But the only way I have learned in my 54 years, the only way to slow down the clock is to be present in the moment that you're in. And all the craziness of the schedule, I can wake up in the morning and be thinking about like, oh, I want to have breakfast ready for my people. What am I making for
Yes.
breakfast? Did I thaw all the meats? Do I have da da da? Do I need to run and grab anything? Oh, I just quick clean the bathroom. Like you can just be doing all the things. So I have to be intentional to be present in the moment that I'm in, or I'm always thinking about what's next and what I need to be preparing. Which, I mean, that's, you do need to think about these things, but I want to be able to wake up each day, sit, not be running, be present with the Lord. Even in that space, a lot of times the Lord will give me what I need for the day, real practical
A
stuff.
100%.
Like, "Oh,
Yes.
yeah, honey, you forgot to get the bacon," and it's like, "Oh, okay, well, we won't do that meal that required the bacon, or, I'll make sure that I get that and we'll do it tomorrow," or whatever. I don't know. But just, that's what it would look like for me, is just really kind of protecting that morning time and getting some alone time before it all begins.
I love that. I think that's one of the things for the holiday season that I really enjoy is the mornings are a little bit slower. And I'm an early riser. I mean sleeping in really if I sleep past 5:30 I am just thrilled. Like I'm just an
You've
early
slept in.
riser. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I like that morning time. I like the slower morning time. I'm one of those people who gets up and does my devotions, and then I work out and I get my day going, and that's I get ready for work, and I'm in my rhythm. Where during the holiday season, especially like in the weeks of the holiday kind of thing, Christmas or Thanksgiving week, my mornings can be a little bit slower and I have a little bit of a different rhythm. And to sit with the Lord for an extended amount of time like that is so life giving when life is swirling so quickly around us. And so I'm so grateful for that time. One of the other things, and honestly, like we have a read through the Bible in a year plan at our church. And we we have if you just read one column, you read through the whole New Testament and some Old Testament chapters. And if you read both columns, there's two columns, then you'll read through the entire Bible within the year. And I get to create that reading plan. And I have over the last few years always put the book of Luke in
Mhm.
December because I that's one of the things I love to do is I love to read the book of Luke during December. It puts my focus in the right place. I get to sit with that. Somebody even gave me one time a book and it just has it's almost like a journal of just Luke. So it has the
Mm.
scripture on one side of the page and just journal lines on the other side. And so you can just write with it. You really get to sit with it and really ponder and ask what the Lord is showing you. And you can journal what he's revealing to you. And so, yeah, I love that slowing down a bit for the holiday season.
Yeah. Yeah, if you do wanna read through the book of Luke, you can read, like, a chapter a day, and it'll take
Yep.
you right on up, yeah, to Christmas. So, that's an
Yeah,
awesome way
which
to do it.
is so great. It's such a gift. And that's what we do in our reading plan is we read it up to just right in about Christmas time.
I
So
love that.
beautiful thing. Yeah. And even some of the fun things I like to do, I like to bake and I love pumpkin recipes. I love the fall kind of baking. For Thanksgiving, we'll make a homemade pie, a apple pie. We do everything from scratch for Thanksgiving. And that to me is so much fun. And so, Shauna, you're far away, so we don't get to have you over, but we'll have the sisters and their families and my family over and we'll cook during the day together and it's such a fun day to
Hmm.
me. So I really enjoy baking and cooking when I have the time to do it. And it seems like the holidays that gets to shift a bit. I also love having the family in the house. I love it's just a really fun like all of Thanksgiving Day we have people over and it's just a really fun time to be together, be intentional.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like baking with my kids. Like we have certain
Yeah.
recipes, and I don't even know why they're just Christmas recipes, but we have certain cookies that we make every December. And so we make these peanut butter temptations where we make a peanut butter cookie and you put them like in a miniature um, muffin tin, but then when they're fresh out of the oven, you shove a small
Reese's peanut butter
Reese's
cup.
peanut butter cup in there. Oh my gosh, those are the
Yes,
best.
they're
But yeah,
so good. Why that it to me is a Christmas cookie too, and it's not.
there's nothing
But
really Christmassy about it, but
I will only make it at Christmas time. The other thing, Annie Jean used to make these, is just like a you know what I'm gonna say.
Cherry bean bars.
Oh, no.
Oh, maybe that was Twyla's thing. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but a peanut butter cookie, and you just roll it in sugar, and then you bake it a little bit, and then you take a chocolate kiss. She used to do
Yep.
chocolate stars. She would have buy these bags
Mhm.
of chocolate stars, and you push it down the center, like after they've baked mostly, and then you put them back in the oven for like 2 minutes, so the chocolate just gets like a little bit hard on the outside. Oh, so good.
So,
To me,
y
those are Christmas cookies too. I don't
yeah,
know.
which yeah, peanut butter chocolate, I
They're
don't know
not.
why. But so cherry
Yeah,
bean bars, do you remember those?
I don't.
Oh, my Lanta. Okay, so I think it was Twyla for some reason that would make them. But when we would all get together, the big family, they were like, there's like cherry chips that you melt and they're on the bottom and they're like hot pink, really, really bright
Oh,
pink. And then they put like a chocolate peanut butter thing on top of it. It's absolutely amazing. But cherry
that
chips are
sounds amazing.
really, really hard to come by. Like
I
they're
was gonna
just
say,
not
where do you
everywhere.
find those?
Yeah.
I was at Sprouts this week and I saw some pumpkin chocolate chips. I thought, "Oh, that would be fun to make something with."
Well, that would be
I
fun
don't
to
know
have in your
what.
car and just nibble on when you want a handful of that's what I'm
There
thinking.
you go. That is the problem
Yum.
with fall and the holidays is there's so many yummy things to eat. So,
Well, I think one of the things with fall and the holidays is it's just there's so many things. It's not just
yep.
the yummy things to eat, it's the activities, it's the things that we could do or that we might want to do, but it's also the demands, right? Like there's the kids have got their play or their choir concert or whatever. Like there's a lot of things, there's extra services, there's extra activities. And so one of the notes that I leave myself for my calendar is to just days, leave white space on my calendar. Like just don't fill every nook and cranny because there is such a thing as too much of a good thing.
Yeah, that's a really good word, especially during the holidays, but also I think it's something that we need to practice all the time is that just because there's an open space, just because we don't have something else scheduled, does not mean that that's open space for anybody to fill. And
Right.
so I think one of the things that I tend to do, and I don't know if other people do this, but if there is not something specifically scheduled in that time slot, and somebody needs me to do something or wants me to do something, I feel like I have to say yes because that time slot is
Is
open.
open. So here's what I do. I give myself blocks in my calendar that are literally just say unavailable.
Yeah,
And
that's so
that's
smart.
just space for me to be.
Yeah. I have started doing that when like especially with teaching so much, I've been putting in space to prep for teaching
Mhm.
because I'm very much like a task like check it off the list, check it off the list. And when you're prepping to teach or speak someplace, it's a little, I don't know, looser. Like, it's
Mhm.
not like you can take this 2 hours and you will accomplish this specific thing. Like, you have to study and it's just different. And so I've
Right.
literally blocked out time for that. But I love that. Just unavailable. I will
Unavailable.
not book something else during that time. I'm going to do that.
Just because I need to be reminded, because like you said, if I
Yeah.
see the blank space on my calendar, I am tempted to want to fill it with something. Actually, my kids make fun of me because Jodes, my calendar is literally like my to-do list for every single day. So I will have on my
Yeah.
calendar like wash your hair or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
do that every day. And they're like, seriously, you got to put wash your hair on your calendar. And I'm like, well, it takes time. Isn't that what your
Yeah.
calendar is for? For the things that take time. So
Yeah.
yeah, they make fun of me because I put really obvious things on my calendar, but I did this calendar planning thing. It was like a Julie Morgenstern, I don't know, Franklin planner thing years ago. And she talked about your day is like your closet. It's only got so much space. And, we try to cram so much in there and then we don't get to enjoy the things. And so anyway, I think about my calendar like space, there's only so many
Yep.
hours in the day. And so how am I going to fill that space?
That is so smart. That's managing your time
I put
and
in if
not
it takes
just
time to
letting,
drive somewhere, I put drive,
yeah.
drive 30 minutes, drive 15 minutes. It's kind of silly.
Right. You know what? I think sometimes we can get our calendar so full, especially like during the holiday season, and we think we're a victim to that. And we're not a victim to that. We
Come
choose.
on, that's
We say
so good.
yes, we
Yeah.
say no. And it's okay to say no. That doesn't work. Even if it's something I want to do, we might
Mhm.
need to say no because it's not healthy. There's too many things in place. The other thing I really just want to challenge all of us for this holiday season is be intentional. Like Shauna and I talked about time with the Lord. Be intentional about having setting time aside to be with the Lord in a rhythm. Because if you're not intentional, it won't happen. When we get out of our normal routine, it's very easy to drop those kind of things. The other thing I would say is be intentional in this holiday season to bring the Lord into, like, okay, that's maybe the wrong way to say it, to put our focus where it really should be. So, like, one of the things I want to do is get one of the nativity activity um, things so that, like, my granddaughter can interact with what is the part of the story right now that we want to focus on. This is Christmas is actually about celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ,
Mhm.
the Messiah. This matters. In it's bigger than just getting presents on Christmas Day. Um, and she's not even 2 yet. But I want that to be a part of what's normal for her. And I know her mommy and daddy are raising her in that. They're so good at pointing her to the Lord all the time. But like, and even like, what songs can we sing this Christmas that talk about Jesus, right? I want to be putting those things in in front of her and very intentionally, but also for myself. I want to make sure that we're
Mhm.
doing that. I have to tell a really quick story. It's just triggering, and I
Yes, of
need to tell a
course.
real quick story. So Ty and Kel sent us a video, and this was a couple weeks ago. Faye was singing "Jesus Loves Me" at the
Mm.
top of her lungs. And have I told you about that?
No. I
Oh my
love
gosh.
that.
Just and her little she was sitting in her high chair and her little nose is scrunched up and just Jesus loves me. And you just go, "Oh my goodness, yes, darling, he does."
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, it's so, so sweet, but it's, things like that. Like I want to make sure that we're pointing to Christ
Mhm.
in this very busy commercial
Mhm.
season. So,
So, just to be really honest, before I know we're about to sign off here, but one of the things that I can fall into, I don't know if you've ever had this, Jodes, but one of the things that I can fall into when my to do list gets really, really bogged down is that I feel like I need to do my time with the Lord. And I'll sit down and that even can feel like another task that I checked that
yes.
off my list. And so I would encourage you to be intentional about spending time with the Lord, but honestly, it's so much more about relational connection than it is about being able to check it off your list. So free yourself up from feeling like you need to read all the things or you have to have your colored pens in your journal and 30 minutes uninterrupted in order for it to count. And maybe just I don't even know, like maybe even read a chapter of Luke or even skip reading for the day and just sit with the Lord and have an honest conversation with Him. Talk about what you're excited about, talk about concerns you have. Like maybe this year financially looks different than what years have looked like in the past. And so there's some concerns about that. There's a lot of things that can weigh on us that they're existing there, but we're not really naming them. And they're taking up weight and they're making us anxious. And so, yeah, just enjoy his company. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but just be really aware of the presence of God and that you're in the presence of God. And if you feel like it, have an honest, open conversation with him.
I love that. And I want to add to that. Maybe it doesn't look like sitting on your couch with that kind of quiet. Maybe it means, and granted, I'm in Southern California, going out for a walk and not taking headphones and just spending that time with the Lord. processing, asking him questions, just being quiet with him, just being in his presence in
Yeah.
nature. What an incredible thing. Maybe it means as you drive to work, you don't turn anything on. You're just in silence with the Lord. There are so many ways to do this. It doesn't have to look one way for us to spend time with God. There are so many times where I get in the car or I head out for my walk and I feel like the Lord says, no, we're not going to turn that on right now. Can you
Yeah.
just spend some time with me? And it's a gift.
Mhm.
It's a gift. So it doesn't always have to even be sit down. There's just great ways that God meets us and ministers to us in this very busy season as well. So this holiday season, we want to encourage you, be intentional. Even make a list of the things that you want to be intentional about this holiday season. Maybe ask your loved ones to make that list as well. And enjoy this time. Don't let it slip by. Don't feel like you have to say yes to everything. Manage your calendar too. And remember, we serve a real God, and He really loves you.